going on, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talks podcast for entrepreneurs. I am very, very excited to share who my guest is today. But as you may already know, I took a short pause to focus on other things in my business, but I couldn't go without really start, having this collaboration. But recently, I attended the 10x Stages workshop where they teach us how to talk about our brand, our signature talk per se. And this happened in Miami, and there was this young, beautiful lady who came in, amazing outfit, great persona, great vibe. Her aura was just so bright, and immediately I was like, I need to talk to this lady and chat and collaborate and connect. And now here she is. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's a an author, multiple authors of books. Which we'll discuss here as well. Matter of fact, she gifted me one of her books that is titled "The Girl with a Buddha Tattoo," which is actually, if you look at, you can't see it right here, but it's actually her all her artwork, her from her own body, which is on the cover of that particular book. But my now good friend, and I'm a fan of her. Her name is Dasha Love. What an amazing name! But again, she's a serial entrepreneur, she's an author, she's a coach, and she does a few other amazing things. But I'll let her introduce herself and talk more about that. And I'm gonna then ask her a few questions about her entrepreneurial journey and why she does what she does. But Dasha, what's up, girl? Good to see you again.
Hey, I love that intro. Thank you so much.
Of
And
course,
light finds another light. I mean, we're all
right?
magnetized, and we like just happen to go shoop and then
Yeah,
talk about amazing things. And you're having a conversation with yourself when you are
right.
meeting somebody, and like you have similar things that light you up. You look at each other
Yeah,
with like sparkle in your eyes and like excitement
right.
about, oh my God, you can teach me stuff. I can teach you stuff. Like it's amazing, and you got the
well,
fire.
Well, you're amazing, first of all, and you've heard me say that. But for our viewers who are, new to the podcast, as you know, we just barely started recording this Real Talks podcast, but I'm happy to have you here as our first 30 um, guests on here. But tell us more about you and your background and what you do to help others.
Thank you. Thank you. So, how many of you like listening to this right now have had like this idea like I should write a book? Like probably almost everybody. Yeah, like they say that New York Times says that about 85% of people worldwide want to
Mm,
write a book, but only less than 1% actually do it.
right, right.
Why? Because it's just it's hard. It's hard, and it's you don't know where to start, and you don't know how to organize your thoughts or like how to get clarity. And the funny thing is, I never knew I was going to get into this. Like, is it okay if I share a little bit of my story?
Please do. Please do. That's what we it's called Real Talk Podcast. We keep it real, say anything and everything here. We're good. We'll air it out.
Thank you. Thank you. Practicing my signature talk, right? So,
Yes.
2014, my mom was gasping for air because she was fighting stage
Mm,
4B cervical cancer, and she only had a few months left to live.
wow.
And because of the way I was raised, because she was strict, my mind was stuck on a repeat, like so many people who are watching this right now, probably like
Mm,
about negative thought patterns, especially when it
yeah.
comes to parents, right? So I found myself blurring out, Mom, why did you have to ruin my life?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my God. And what came next actually changed my life because she
Wow.
said my brothers abused me when I was little.
Mm,
So I realized that the
yes.
abuser was once abused.
Right.
And then I started to recollect the reason why I was running away, turning to addictions, drugs, alcohol, men, sex, because I was trying to find love.
Mm,
But if you don't know how to love yourself, then how could you love another person? Because our parents are
true.
just kids in grown up bodies. They had
True.
no idea. So then
Yeah.
transformation started to happen fast. People were like, are you writing a book? And I did psychedelics like ayahuasca, 5-MeO, meditation every day, Wim Hof breath
Yeah.
work, ice baths, Tony Robbins, landmark form. Like I wanted to read and do everything I can to change myself because I had so much anger built up inside of me. But it wasn't.
Wow.
It wasn't until the book, until I surrendered to writing, even though English is a third language, and I
Mm.
could barely speak it, let alone like write with commas and dots, and like I never had such clear. Like I was never able to communicate this clearly until I surrendered to writing a book.
Wow. I could definitely
And
see
then
that. Yes.
fast forward 10 years into the game, almost 10 years, I have 9 books, 8 published on Amazon.
Wow.
And
That's
about
amazing.
5 years into the writing, about 5 years into the writing, I received channeling abilities. So I can ask people the right questions to be able to pull that
Wow.
book out of them.
Yeah.
And the thing that I realized most is that, and one of the things my dad told me after my mom passed, we were walking and looking for a place to bury her. Your mom wanted to be a nun, but she
Mm.
couldn't leave the family because she didn't think you guys would be taken care of. So it led me to
Mm.
believe that if a person's being asked the right questions
Yeah.
and they write a book, they can heal.
Yeah.
They can take things outside of them that they may not even be aware of. So it's like
I
it's
agree.
beyond a legacy. It becomes a leverage. It becomes a healing tool. It becomes an accountability buddy. It's so much more than any transformational tool I've ever experienced in my life. And I've done a lot of them.
Right.
Because it
Right.
took
And we actually,
me, you know?
yeah, and we actually discussed that offline. But more importantly, of course, I mean, you've written what, 8 published book, one on the way, which is actually like you showed me a copy of it. It's not finalized yet, but I'm like, that's very exciting. And I think I could definitely relate to that. So, first of all, I'll be supporting once that book launches. I'll be one of the first ones to like pre order and all of that stuff. But nonetheless, so first of all, again, thanks for sharing your story too. I'm sure we could dig or dive deeper into that. But I would agree with you that a book helped me. Like writing the book, it was very difficult for me, especially it's the very first one I ever created. And I would say probably for years, I had it in my mind as part of my bucket list to like write a book. To one, not really it's like to leave a legacy when I'm out of this world, right, in the future. But number two is it's one of those things that was I knew was going to be very difficult, at least in my thought process, and going through
Mhm.
the journey. It took me close to 10 months to really write it, but before that it took me years to even really move forward to acting on it because I didn't have experience. I didn't know anybody who can support and help me write the book and so on and so forth. But with you being here, like somebody like you who can help us, I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's great for marketing and credibility building and everything else. But to also try like express yourself, writing throughout the book. I wasn't gonna say it was like super difficult because I had found a coach to help me out. But because of my coach's help, I was able to learn so many different things about book writing and everything else, and how to express yourself and things like that. But with your program, I mean, first of all, like um, in your program, like in your coaching program, and like helping others like me to write, let's say my first book or whatnot. Like, what do you typically go over with your clients?
So my favorite thing, and I wish somebody taught me this, because then I
Hmm.
wouldn't have spent 15-hour days, 7 years on my first book. Okay, so if you did
Mm,
one, congratulations.
thank
Because
you.
the eye strain that is now happening because I've been stuck in the computer for so long. Yeah. Anyways, I would pay a lot for it.
Right.
But beginning with the end in mind, like
Mm,
to
yeah.
create a clear vision of how this book wants to be used, because it's there's two different types of books. One is to go on a transformational journey to live a better life, because if you want to be peaceful, if you want peaceful relationships, if you want
Yeah.
to have a peaceful everyday life, you got to become peaceful, and that's
Mm,
a process, right? And the book
yeah.
helped me with that process, go from anger to peace.
Mm,
So one is
love
for
that.
transformational reasons, and that could take obviously as much as it needs to take, but with a coach, it would be a lot faster than you would by yourself, because a coach
Right.
takes you out of the stories and out of the not good enoughness and out of the this book needs to be the only book, because it doesn't have to be the only book. And there's a
Yeah.
business book. There's a business book to get straight to the point, to a framework, maybe like 30, 44, 50, 80 pages, like less than 100 pages, that you can just leave on seats of the people that you're meant to
Mm.
reach. So, like, starting with the end in
Wow.
mind, you're on that stage sharing that message.
Yeah.
And the book writes itself. Like, I asked you intuitively questions to get it out. Like, when does this book want to see the light? Does this book want to be
Right.
held on a stage? How many people are in the audience? So when we start with the end in mind, that is so much easier to make it happen. So we start with the end,
Yeah.
create that vision, and then we get that book channeled, and then we create a high ticket offering or an investment opportunity that goes together with the book, and then we bring it into the body through
Yeah. No,
dance,
guys. Yeah.
breath work, and stuff.
I love that, and that's your other thing. Obviously that I think I would want to like talk more about, and which that other piece of what you do. Uh, I actually want to like have another podcast episode just for that because there's so many things that I want to ask. But just kind of to piggyback with you know with writing a book, it's definitely like seems like it's overwhelming. But when I talk to you, I've only written one book, and I was actually overwhelmed throughout the entire time. But you're very confident. Obviously, you have plethora of experience with doing it right, and I actually read the first chapter so far. And guys, gals, like she knows what she's doing, and um, I mean, I had a great, book writing coach, but it's very, very expensive. Everyone, to be transparent, it could range between ten to $25,000, maybe even more for the bigger deals, right? But upon speaking with Dasha, I can't speak on her offer, but I'll tell you, she's definitely worth it, and it sounds like it's the quality of her coaching to help you write the book from start to finish is just going to be as amazing as my previous coach. And I'm talking about like the likes of Chandler Bolt's, business selfpublishing.com. But Dasha, I wish I would have known, uh, like you the first time, but nevertheless, there's plenty of opportunities to write more books as I plan on actually writing one more book for leadership only. That's one of my expertise, my background, and all that. But I'll definitely go through you once I'm ready to start working on that. But in regards to basically like in the experiences that you've uh, like like the experiences that you had with writing multiple books, like what are some of the key pointers that you can share us on the episode that is good for us to kind of have an idea on.
So one of the biggest things is that when people started coming to me to help them write books, I was like,
Mhm.
oh no, 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 me? And part of me was like, because it was so hard for me, I thought that it was
Yeah.
gonna be that hard for me to help people. So I was
Hmm.
like pushing that away, and then God was like, surrender, surrender. I got a bigger plan for you than you have for yourself.
Yeah.
So Dasha was like, okay, God, I surrender. And literally, it is the funnest thing ever, because I showed up to that first Zoom with this lady who's in her
Uh-huh.
50s, and
Wow.
I just hit record. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just surrendered because God had a plan. And
Yeah.
I hit record. I close my eyes. I start channeling questions. She starts crying and like speaking back,
Wow.
channeling back intuitively answers to the questions. And it's going and it's going. And I'm like, my eyes are closed and I'm shaking. And I don't know how much time is going by. But I'm like, where are we? Like, it was like we were inside of a vortex, a movie. And I'm like, just like, no time. Like, time disappeared. And then I opened
Yeah.
my eyes and it's like half an hour went by and she's like, okay, my thought is complete. And I'm like, we just got a quarter of your book done
Wow.
in one session.
And people don't know that, right? They're like,
Because
oh
the
wow.
thing is, they don't, right now, whoever is hearing this right now, you're a vibrational match to the easy way.
Hmm.
Everybody say easy way. Because
Right.
people, if they don't know that it's possible, because they don't hear somebody saying that there's another way, then they put
Right.
a dream on the shelf, thinking that, oh, that's way too hard somewhere outside myself, where I can help somebody in one day
Yeah.
get their first draft out. If their book wants to
Amazing.
have a life and it wants to have the message wants to be out, like it will come out as fast as it needs to come out with the right help.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that. If I didn't have a book writing coach, going through the process with me, helping me with like just putting it together and writing style and everything else, I wouldn't have completed it, nor would have I even started. So I certainly believe in having a coach, right, to help guide and mentor us and all that stuff. And for you, what led you to like wanting to help others, write books specifically in book writing?
The I kept asking myself, out of all the things that have helped me transform my life, what
Yeah.
was the one thing that helped me the most?
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, the one that kept sucking me back in, Dasha.
Yeah.
The one that you spend the most time doing, what, over 10,000 hours, easy. Well, now that's obvious. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a reason why it kept sucking me back in, so I can become an expert in it, right? Because
Yeah.
everything happens for us. And when you start to notice that the answers you've been looking for have been there all along, then you're
Hmm.
like, oh. So I don't think I didn't choose it. I failed my English classes in college. I mean, I cut classes. I literally, like, people just kept telling me that
you
I
live
should write a book. So the universe was
did you
banging on
live
my head.
Yeah,
Huh?
did you live a completely different lifestyle? I know you mentioned that you did.
Oh,
It
party
sounds
girl
like you were
central.
the whole
Like,
nine.
me by
Yeah.
myself in solitude to write? Are you kidding me? Where the party at, yo? Like,
Yeah.
like, and then like once I got into it and I started loving to be by myself, like I
Hmm.
became my own best friend through the writing.
Self love is definitely very important. And again, like you have so much to talk about when it comes to that side of stuff. But I definitely would love to have you on another podcast to talk about just on that matter. Spiritually and everything else. And but with that being said, did you have a once you started writing your book and everything else? Is that when you felt like, all right, I could teach others how to do this, right?
No, no,
Is that
no. I,
or
I, I
no?
never
No?
thought, I never ever thought that I could teach others how to do that. They just
Yeah.
came. Like,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
it's interesting because I just, like, people came to me for coaching at first, and then people started
Yeah.
coming to me for books. And I was like, first,
Hmm.
I was like, who am I? But then it's like, wait, I am an expert because I spend so many hours.
Right.
So the funny
Absolutely.
thing is, like, so it chose me, and then I thought I was writing a book because it gave me purpose, because I felt like I was communicating to my old self that
Mm.
was angry, slamming doors, that had so much trauma built up. And even though I've
Right.
done the psychedelics for healing and done the meditations and spent time alone, I still wasn't really fully the peaceful person I wanted to be.
Mm.
So the book actually rewrote my story.
Wow.
It made
Wow.
me become the dream relationship I wanted to have. It made me become the dream person I wanted to be. It made me become the person that loves being by herself. It made me become the sober person, the intuitive person. Like, literally, all the dreams I've ever had have
Yeah.
manifested through becoming an author
That's so cool. Such
and
a
spending all that
that's
time
yeah.
learning how to spend time alone and, like, just with my thoughts and writing. And the purpose, like, woke up because I was visualizing my old self that was angry,
Mm.
slamming doors, blaming, thinking that a guy's supposed to come rescue me, giving away my power, alcohol,
All
depresso
of
land.
that. I mean, you know what? If you didn't really share any of those like backstory about you, like just somebody that's meeting you, you're so like full of good energy. When you walk into a room, it's like, all right, Dasha love is here. You can definitely feel that just from that energy level that you bring on, and you keep it real. I'll tell you that in the 2 days that we spent together, like you just stayed consistent. You kept it real, you know. and that's, I think authenticity is amazing. It's always great to be genuine. I feel like you have that, and I think it would be a great, like, it would be so easy to work with you. You know, you're very positive in all of those other traits that makes a coach a good coach. Um, and obviously, like, I think, a book, again, I mentioned, it helps you with credibility. As you mentioned, it helped you like transform and truly find, I guess, your purpose maybe. But um, and it's something that it's a legacy that stays forever. You know, that your family can be proud of and pass on to for generations, which is pretty cool. But let's kind of dive into like what, as far as like before you became an entrepreneur as well, right? Because this is the entrepreneurship podcast, and all of that. Were you, like, when you first wrote, like, well, tell us, like, when you first wrote your first book, like, what were your career path was at that time, or were you already an entrepreneur then? And
No, no. So
if not, yeah,
I come from high tech. Yeah, woo, woo, all the
okay,
high tech in the house. Software
yeah,
monetization. So I
okay,
help people monetize their software online, Photoshop, Adobe, all this stuff with marketing.
that was your
And
background before then.
yeah, yeah, I traveled the world for it, and I was top notch in sales. Like quadrupled my salary
Nice,
within the first few years. Like I've
super
always
cool.
been a hustler, like a sales go
Yeah,
go grind, and then as I started writing, I got into real estate. So anytime at the open house people would walk out, I'd just be like back into the book. People would walk in, close the computer, like
yeah. Oh
and then
wow.
I slowly realized how to take the skills that I've learned through book writing and create high ticket offers out of those, so I didn't have to work for other people anymore.
Oh man, I love
Mhm.
that.
And
When did you? Yeah,
the reason
yeah.
I
Go.
learned the reason I learned that this is a high ticket offer is because I picked up a book, okay, at
Mm.
the Russell Brunson conference, the
Oh
ClickFunnels
wow.
conference, by
ClickFunnels, is that? Yeah.
Aileen Wilder, who's one of my coaches. She's incredible.
Oh
I
cool.
picked up one of her books on the chair. This is why books are so
Yeah.
powerful. And it
Yeah.
said that this guy created a 30K, 25, 30K offer for helping people write books. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So the book gave me the belief that I could do it. And then I did it.
You did it multiple times,
Yep.
which is awesome. Awesome. And so you were in high, I guess, in the tech world, software sales, which is pretty cool. It's Sales is amazing in my opinion. Not many people like it, but as you know, like, that's kind of like your foundation, regardless of what business you're in, right? We're always going to be in sales. So having that skill set in your background, you can, in my opinion, you can do anything. And
Mhm.
then you got into real estate too, which is I dive into as well. I'm a small real estate investor. I do love open houses. I love like walking through like all of these stuff. But and then, obviously it looks like that's slowly you're working on your book, and then from seeing somebody else's book, reading it, that you can make, I guess, a business out of it as well. And you wrote your book, and then here you are, which is absolutely correct. When I wrote my book, How to Start a Business and Grow It, I did make sure that part of my call to action is to talk about my high ticket offer towards the end and everything else. But I kind of like I kind of learned that from the coach as well, and I wouldn't have even mentioned it if I didn't get a coach. And mind you, to me, it was worth every penny. And I definitely believe in coaching. So for people who's watching, if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, uh, it writing a book should be one of your top goals. I think it's very, very important to get seen, get known, and
Mhm.
have that credibility. And matter of fact, really one of the reasons why I wrote a book, other than what I mentioned earlier, is because of my business mentor, Grant Cardone, right? And you got to see him and meet him in person. And I don't know what you guys discussed on the side after he left the stage, but I remember you had your book, and uh, could you share that a little bit to just kind of go on the side of our discussion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta trust your intuition. So I have one of my books that's called One Book, One Offer, 1 Million that I wrote in 24 hours had to be in
Yeah.
his hands. So, um,
Wow.
I trusted my intuition, walked up to him, and then started talking about 10x experiences. And the next thing you know, now we are putting on an event that's called Ignite Your Fire. And we're
Mm,
talking to Grant Cardone about it. There's a meeting tomorrow about it. So we
so
are
cool.
on fire, trusting intuition and proximity is power, like going to the right event and just
Yes.
going for it. Like sometimes we think that we are at a place for one reason. But if we
Hmm.
are tuned in, turned on, and our body is clear and our mind is clear, then whatever is bigger reason, because God has a bigger plan, as
Yeah.
long as we trust our intuition and act upon it, it will come to fruition. Like I thought I was
Abs-
gonna get up there and go on stage, and why didn't I get a golden ticket? But in reality, like I'm hanging out now and talking to Grant Cardone. There's an event coming up. Like it's so much bigger than
yes.
I could have imagined.
I love that. Actually, follow on question that I was going to tell you is that uh, like you're already well versed in book writing, in sales, and obviously as an entrepreneur as well. But you still attended and obviously attended a networking, or it's not just a networking workshop, but our 10x stages workshop, right? And it seems like you already know how to speak and talk and be in front of a camera and be just fine. But why do you still go on these like type of like events or workshop to help you with your with your growth?
I'm a growth junkie. I love like expansion and realizations and taking massive notes and especially the connections too. Like
Right, huge.
you think you go for one thing, but then you magnetize like your soul family, your tribe. Like right now, I've got a team of spiritual people putting together this event from this workshop that wasn't
Yeah,
possible before that workshop. So there's only so much we can do by ourselves, even if we speak. It's so much better when we do it together. Like Grant was saying, Pete
yeah,
was saying, like you need a team. Mother Teresa had a team. Like, yeah, maybe
right,
somebody's name in the front, but there is an army, an empire behind this person. So
right.
everybody's
And
playing a piece of the puzzle.
that's 100% true. Grant did not do it alone, although he's like the initially the mastermind of things. But to be honest with you, nowadays, I mean, he's a billionaire. He does what he does, but I mean, his all his companies are running because of other people that he collaborated with or that he hired. Some great people on their team. But absolutely correct. I'm actually very inspired of you know. This event that you're spearheading, and talk more about that, right? But absolutely, uh, I'm very much similar when it comes to personal and professional growth. I believe in learning from others who are very successful, right? And obviously the networking piece is always going to be very important. Otherwise, you and I wouldn't be on this podcast recording now or this episode without that event that we both attended. But
Mhm.
um, attending workshops, webinars, or even this like a digital kind of coaching, it is just as fine. But I think it's very important to just continue to be a part of, uh, you know, like building and learning and stuff. Because once you stop learning, I think you kind of become complacent, and
Done. Yeah.
it just doesn't go well after that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
I love how they were demonstrating like how to approach other people to speak on stages, and they were giving
right,
examples because there is a lot of potential that is untapped inside of us that we don't even know that we don't know until we hear
right,
the new possibility of how things could be easier, more exciting, more collaborative, more innovative. Like you're hearing this right now, this is an innovative approach I'm sharing to
yes,
channeling, to having your book pulled out of you without ChatGPT or AI. Like this, if you weren't open to this, you wouldn't hear this. And then in your mind, you would always stay with this idea that it's hard and that you have to do it yourself. and then you probably never do it because less than 1%, right? And like the things that
Actually,
I
yeah,
learned at that workshop of how to approach and the scripts, and it's not only mind expanding, but it also gives the actionable steps, right? To
yeah,
do the next level things. Because
yeah,
what did they say? Like when you learn stuff, you find out how much you really don't know that you don't know, or something like that. Like, and
yeah. No, yeah.
I, and,
You don't know what you don't know, and it's a fact, right?
and somebody,
There's
and
so
I
many
think somebody
things that
once,
no,
somebody once told me that like if you start thinking that you know it all, like you're out of this game, because then you're not open to like soaking up more information and wisdom from those that have
right?
mastered and older than you and have different skill sets. So humble
Exactly.
student.
Yes, I believe that I'm a great or okay. I'm gonna say I believe I'm a great leader, but I'm always also a follower first, right? From learning from other people and putting together what I've learned from others and putting it together as me, as who I am. A combination of those things. That's why I think uh, it's always important to do that. But super cool. I mean, obviously, like in a short amount of time, and you haven't been around Grant Cardone's world for a long time either, right? Like you're not like you haven't been following him for like years and years,
No.
right? From
No,
and
I think
but
yeah,
yeah,
just a little bit.
yeah, but here you are now. You're just like you're making the moves, and the fact of the matter is that you're also in the Miami area.
Hmm.
Proximity right there is so key. Like people move to Miami, Aventura to just get closer to being around Grant Cardone in hopes of possibly collaborating or just learning from the guy. So that's cool that you're already there. I mean, I wish I was in. If I was to move in a different location, I'd probably go to Miami. If not, it'll be overseas somewhere tropical. But yeah, on a business standpoint, I think Miami is a great place, a great hub. So yeah, kudos that you're already there. Um, but
Well,
uh,
it took letting go of everything because I came
wow,
here with two suitcases and without a home
yeah,
base.
none at
And
all. Like yeah,
yeah,
and I remember we mentioned that you kind of grew up where I was at in San Jose, California. Like
hmm,
that's my childhood and everything.
hmm.
So when did you move to Miami? And what made
I
you move there?
so when you're so the most important thing in life, in my humble opinion, is to shock yourself into waking up.
Mm,
Is to do shocking experiences, or people call them fear experiences, skydiving, book writing, like daring yourself to go out to eat by yourself, like just the most important thing is
shock.
to keep
Yeah.
yourself uncomfortable, like seek
Right.
discomfort, because that's
Yeah.
the way you're going to grow. And even
Yes.
though it's so uncomfortable, it is so much better what's on the other side.
Right. Right.
So
I
I learned
mean,
to
it's
trust the
absolutely
heart, like
true.
through the book writing, like I surrendered to letting go of this thing and letting my
Mm,
heart lead the way, and my
love
intuition and
that.
my impulses, because I do believe God is speaking, and my job is to listen and to let
Yeah.
him have a bigger plan for me, deliver a message, and complete the assignment that he's got for me that's bigger than what I could comprehend in my head. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
I went to Tulum from California in a car,
Wow.
drove all the way because the four of us, me and a few friends, so remember how my heart was leading the way, me and a few
Right.
friends had a big mastermind there that turned out to be
Wow.
like huge. So then I was like, okay, I guess we're all moving here. And I let
Nice.
go of a
Yeah.
relationship that wasn't serving me in order to pursue like recording courses and my speaking career and books. And that was the best thing I've ever done, like letting go and working more and more on myself, doing things that I'm uncomfortable doing. And ultimately, it led me here to ClickFunnels, biohacking, into meeting my dream partner, living on the beach, because I did the
Yeah.
inner work to be at peace.
Yeah.
And
And
it gave me everything I wanted.
that's so
God.
cool. So you went to Tulum?
Yeah,
Tulum
I lived in
first?
Tulum for a year. Uh-huh.
Such a magical place.
Hmm.
Tulum is great. I've been there once, and I was like, "This is so cool." Like, and people. There's actually I met some people that live there, who's expats. Like foreigners from United States, Canada, Australia. I'm like, wow, this is the life. This is so cool. And then from there, how many years did you live in Tulum?
Just a year, and
Okay.
then the friend I was living there with was like, okay, I'm moving on, and then I was like,
Mm,
wait, you're gonna go in two suitcases? And she's like, yeah, I've been doing it for 11 years, and I was like, well, that's
wow.
freedom. And she's like, are you? And then she told me about ClickFunnels, and then I was like, wait a minute, I've been working on ClickFunnels, like I did the
Yeah.
30-day ClickFunnel. We're gonna go meet Russell. She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
one of my friends is getting a 6 comma award on the stage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm coming, and like. And then I let go of everything. It was nerve wracking. I was
Yeah.
scared. To two suitcases without a home base.
Yeah.
But
And it led you to Miami area?
Miami, yeah, it led me to Fort Lauderdale, to meeting my partner, into being on stage in Miami and biohacking. And the rest is history. Now there's a baby.
Yeah, which is I met your partner. He's such a good dude, cool guy, and your baby's so beautiful. Those blue, is it blue eyes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh my man, so cute, man. I love kids. So my kids are older now, so like every time I see somebody else having babies, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Um, but but yeah, that's so cool. You say
But I
you,
literally want to say that none of this would have been possible if I didn't do the work and like do the
yeah,
thing, which was the book that was calling my name so loud through other people that
right,
kept telling me I need to write a book because I was
yeah,
resisting it because I couldn't
cool.
speak this good. Like none of this is what would have been possible to eloquently deliver messages and words through a stream of consciousness like this to deliver points home. None of this would
Yeah,
have been possible if I didn't say yes to people telling me I should write a book.
yeah. I think having clarity is so good, and you could definitely speak well and explain yourself and all that stuff as well. And speaking, that's kind of one of my big goals too, is to have continue to be a speaker on other people's stages, to be a guest speaker, and obviously have my own stage in the future. Also, I think that would be amazing. And I want to kind of go back when you mentioned something about writing a book without Chat GPT, all that stuff. As you know, that's been promoted so many, how often the last year and a half, or yeah, but I would say a year and a half, right? Um, I didn't write it with AI, but I've seen others say, hey, you can write a book or an ebook in like an hour or two, which, I could definitely see that in a way. But like for you, like, I asked you that question, like you don't write a book using Chat GPT, although you can, but um, is that something that's part of your program? Like, hey, we're gonna write this without Chat GPT type, or how does that work?
Yeah. So in my humble opinion, the point of life is to transform our emotions, is to understand
Hmm.
our story and transform our story. And one of the best way is to speak it out, to pull it out of you. Because the
Yeah.
whole point of the book is to become a better person, from bestseller to best self, to become a best self in
Mm.
the process. If you're giving
Yeah.
away the power of best self to chat gpt, it's not actually going to transform you as a person.
Right. Right.
Because the whole
Makes
point
sense.
is, as you're speaking things, because you ask questions that you maybe have not realized that have been holding you from becoming your best self, it frees you
Yeah.
and helps you get to the point. So it's so much more powerful than anything that could be done outside of yourself, because you are responsible for transforming yourself. Like you can't ask chat gpt to transform your emotions. Like
Right.
you can't, like
True. Yeah.
you can't ask chat gpt to understand what is it exactly that's holding you back from becoming your best self,
Yeah.
because the things
That's
that we
right.
help people with are the things that we overcome ourselves, and the book helps you see like if there's anything else left to overcome and what you've already overcome, and be like, whoa, like yes, I can help other people with the same thing, to collapse timelines.
Truth. Truth. Well, yeah. No, that's an amazing point. Um, just following up. Also, sorry for kind of going back, right, to like you and I both attended the 10x stages workshop, right? And now
Woo-hoo.
you're spearheading this event. But tell me, like, what's your vision from this event? that you're basically starting and uh, you know having others like myself be a part of or stuff like that. But like, what is your vision in this particular event so we can kind of just share it to the world right now?
Thank you, Jay. So I believe that we all have a fire in our soul
Hmm.
that, if
We do,
ignited
yeah.
by the right people and energy and the right type of experience, could help us lead a movement. And
Hmm.
sometimes energy is blocked, and you need to breathe it out, and you need to scream it out and shake it out and move it out, like, in order to understand what's been holding you back. So I truly
Yeah.
believe the body keeps the score. And before we can even eloquently describe our story, perhaps some energy is still blocked that's preventing
Yeah.
us from being able to do so. So
Yeah.
I help people with the DMT breath work, with the movements, getting blindfolded and just like releasing that ego and magnetizing
Wow.
to either the energy of the people, of the person that you need to heal with, and just like really learning how to trust yourself and not the
Yeah.
physicality of who you are in the void, in the
So
darkness,
cool.
and transform through the breath, through movement, through trigger points, through being blindfolded, ego death, to becoming who you authentically are.
Wow.
So
So
I'm
you're saying
imagining
that?
this event being like everybody gets blindfolded. There's music, there is breath work. It's a holotropic breath work. There is people coming together and dancing and magnetizing to each other with blindfolds to not let the physicality. And then whoever's
Yeah.
energy they're magnetized to healing with, like, then we sit down and we
Wow.
work through it. And we're gonna have some celebrities in the house, but you wouldn't know because everybody's blindfolded. So that's the cool part.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool. Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be part of Ignite Your Fire, right? But like, I mean, obviously, we'll talk offline too, like how we can, add more value into that. But I think that's gonna be cool, for people like me who's really haven't done anything like that. But as open minded, I'd be like, all right, cool, let's. Oh, I'm definitely willing to try and explore and experience this, and
It's like
ignite
a
my
psychedelic
fire.
experience. It's like a psychedelic experience without the psychedelic. Like, we're getting high on
Wow,
our own supply. And some
that
people
is
have told me
so.
before that it was even more
Yeah,
powerful for them than ayahuasca was. And I was like, yes, like, we're doing the right thing. We're all feeling turned on. Like, the energy is
so cool.
high. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's I think that's gonna be an epic event, and I'm actually looking forward to finding out more, and how we can put something like this together and go with it. So that should be really really fun. But yeah, well, appreciate your time, Dasha. I know the baby's like, "Mommy, I'm hungry." I could hear his voice in the background, but for the people, obviously, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link when we air this episode. I'm gonna link your website and other social media channel. But for people that who wants to talk more about book writing and want to connect with you, what's the best way to just reach out to you?
Cool. So you can go to either thebookweekend.com, just one word, thebookweekend.com, and book a call. And you can just see the process there. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Let me know that Jay sent you. Or you can go to dasha.love to check out all of my books as well as this offer and all the upcoming events and music and meditations that I have. So,
So
and
so
I would be
awesome.
I would be so happy to have that conversation because I really wish my mom wrote a book.
Well, you
I
know
really
what?
wish. I'm sure you have a lot of people like whoever's listening right now, like, that maybe have
Mhm.
passed that you really maybe don't know their whole story.
Yeah, no, I've been ever since writing my own book. I've been a huge proponent of it since I actually went through the process. So I tell other people, hey, you want to leave a legacy, you want to build credibility, or you want to transform yourself through a book, you can do it. And the fact of the matter is, there's people like you, Dasha, who is willing to spend her time to help us, create something that is priceless and that will stay forever. I think it's amazing. So, for everybody that's been following us, listening, or watching this episode with Dasha Love, I hope that you guys felt her energy like I did. I hope that you guys learned some good tips and pointers in the short amount of time that we're actually recording this podcast. And if you want to reach out to her in those channels that you mentioned. And but I'm also gonna share it onto the description section of this video, and also in the audio portion of the podcast as well. But Dasha, thank you so much. I want to invite you for round two, to talk more about your transformation, healing, and all those things, spiritual stuff, because I know that's something that's very important to you as well. But I want to set that up on another episode soon. So, but I appreciate you being here, taking the time off your busy schedule to share your experience and your brand with Real Talk Podcast listeners and watchers. But other than that, again, guys, if you found this very beneficial, please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow my channel, follow Dasha and other social media that we she'll have that will be added on the description below. Feel free to connect with us, and we hope that we'll see you again very, very
Can I say
soon.
one last
Oh,
thing?
yeah. Yes, of course. Yes.
I just want to say anybody who's listening right now, because I know this is gonna be like live forever. You are good enough. Your
Mm,
story matters, and now is your moment. We
I
don't know
love
how
it.
long we got because it's not guaranteed. So don't die with your story inside you. Let me pull it out of you.
Wow, look at that, guys. And that's her closing remarks to end this episode of Real Talks Podcast. Dasha, again, thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
all
sir.
your tips and sharing some vulnerable talks here on this episode. I appreciate you and wish you continued success and many blessings. And I'm also looking forward to collaborating with you in the very near future.
I love you.
All
Thank
right,
you, Jay.
guys. Yep, much love, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace out.